The highlights for this release is that payment management now supports the connected apps onboarding experience in Business Central. This has been main task for us the last months to be able to be presented as a connected app through Microsoft. In this process, we had to make a lot of improvements to the software to be able to live up to the requirements. So they will now present payment management when you want to work with a bank. We will be the suggested app for this. Some of the things that we've improved to make payment management, the use and installation of payment management, a better experience is, for example, we've improved our teaching tips so that there is now video content embedded in the teaching tips. We have, as I'll also show you, made large improvements on our assisted setups. They've been optimized for an easier setup so that we've actually removed some of the assisted setup guides that we had before and instead really focused on what was important to get the software up and running. So some things will be installed from the get-go with a default setting, and then the most important features are presented in the assisted guides and explained in a very understandable way. So we have the bank account setup guide. It's the first one now to be completed, and it runs automatically after we activate the payment management app. And we've also added an assisted setup for payment approval. So now you might be asking, what is payment approval? Some of you might know it from earlier on in payment management, but we've now created a new module for payment approval to heighten security around the payment process. And we've also included some features inside the product. So now we are able to make account statements with OCR reference for our customers. And we are able to pay customers, make reimbursements, and pay credit notes from the payment journal. For our Dutch colleagues, we now support G accounts. So they are now able to make split payments to both bank accounts and G accounts on the vendor. And this is done accordingly to the setup on the vendor. We also handle direct debit reversals using rules. They can be either general or specific to the customer. And this is handled when the customer rejects a recurring payment. So now I'll continue to the live demo. As you can see, I'm in an English environment for all of us to understand, so it will be pounds from now on. I will start by going to the payment management setup, because in here we've made a lot of changes to the assisted setup. So as you can see, it's very minimal now. It's the bank account setup, where there's a thorough guide to how to set up bank accounts. And one of the very big pluses, the big benefits we've made now for the customer is that they'll be able to set up the bank accounts on their own, because right now we've set it up so that depending on which bank you use, it'll help you on your way, give you the pointers you need, and if you need more than we can assist you with in the guide, then it'll link to another page where you can get the proper information. So this is all done. The improvement of the assisted setup is done so that it makes it easier for new customers to try out payment management on their own. They can get to know payment management before they decide to include a partner. So the setup is quick and easy, and but it hasn't lost anything in this. It's just that it's more easy to set up, and it's still the same in setup wise. It's malleable and customizable and can meet the needs of of every environment you should encounter. There is, as Kim also said, a 30-day trial. So as you can see, we removed 2 of the setups, and here's the setup for approval workflow. I'll go through this and explain it to you, but the guides inside have been improved on all the setup guides, so it's very, very clear what the goal is for the setup. Okay, so as you can see, here are the journals. I am going to go through the payment journal setup. As you can see over here, there is an approval workflow set up for this one. If you wanted to set up a new one, you would click that one and click next. But I just want to show you the one that I've already set up. So here is the workflow setup. The first thing you notice is that it says send approval request to, and then it has a list of different settings that you can choose from. You can either choose all, that means everyone on the list. You can choose first qualified, which means the first one that is able to approve that amount that we're trying to pay. It can be all to first qualified, which means everyone on the list until you reach an approver that can approve that amount. Or it can be initial and first qualified. And that means the first approver on the list, and then the last one or the first one who can approve that amount. I'll just stay on first qualified for this demo. As you can see, there are 2 approvers, and one of them is the one user that I'm logged in as, the RB, and I can approve a lot of money, so that's lucky. The first one can approve £1. Over here, you can see that there is an email notification set up, and this is set up to never, but you have some choices also here to either send it never, instantaneously, or daily. We'll just keep it as is. Here you can see that there are some details about what we want to approve. So for the first is a line approval, and then there's a batch approval. We'll keep it on line approval. And there are some field restriction. That means when you've already sent it for approval, if you want to be able to change something, you can restrict which fields. And it can either be sensitive fields that you can't change, like bank account, amount, and so forth, or it can be all fields. We have also set up a maximum amount allowed without approval, set to 50. So those will just go through without any need for approval. That's it. And because we don't want to set it up on any other journal, I'll just finish this guide. And now I want to go to the payment journal. And I will start by, another new thing is that Microsoft has added the home tab on top, and we have added the things that we feel are the most important to this window. I will go to suggest vendor payments. Good. And as you can see, I've now gotten a whole row of payments I want to send to the bank. But because we now have implemented approval, and we can see now that there is only actually one that is valid to just send through without approval, I will just want to show you, oh, it's this one. What happens if I send to approval. And it doesn't allow it because there are lines that is above the approval without the approval limit. If you look here, you can also see in the right side that this line is ready for approval. So if we go ahead and send an approval request on this one, you can send for one line, or I can choose more lines, or we just want this one. And these are now sent for approval. And as you can see, the status is now waiting for approval also over in the right side in the fact box. So now we can either, if you are the approver in this situation, we can go ahead and approve. I can approve more than one. Or as requested in the setup, there could be an email sent out to the approver, but also we can go to the role sender and payment approvals, request to approve. This is a list over all the sent approvals, and this is the list to approve. And I can approve one at a time, or delegate or reject, or I can just approve. And I'll go back into the journal. And all of these are now approved. And the last one is still just valid, but since it's below the limit or the maximum allowed, we can export the payments. I'll just do all lines. They've all now been sent to the bank. Another thing we implemented in this release is the ability to pay customers credit notes. So to show you this, I will go and suggest customer payments. And this is the setup. And as you can see, the last line is now a refund. Something, and this can just be sent to the bank in the same way as a normal payment will be sent. And as other payments, it will also have a transaction ID. So when you see it the next time in your reconciliation process, in your statement file, there is going to be that transaction ID, and the match will, of course, be 100%. Something I wanted to show you is that we've added a fact box called applied entries in the right side. And here you can see that that refund is actually considered like contains 2 credit memos. So if I click that, I can go to the credit memo. And if this document had, for example, been created from document capture or expense management, you would be able to see the incoming document in the right side. Yes. So the last thing I want to show you is in the bank accounts reconciliations. But maybe first I'll show you, I'll just tap 1 second. So I've made a customer statement. So this customer statement is set up with a payment reference. So you can see it here. And if the customer wants to use this as the payment reference, they will just make the total amount, pay the total amount, and this one is added to the payment, and we'll be able to recognize it from the bank account reconciliation. So I'll just create a new reconciliation as we know it, and done it 1,000 times before. We will import the bank statement. And as we know it, also there are different statuses in the left side. The last line is the one that I created earlier to show you, the one that relates to this one. So if we look here, we can see in the selected reconciliation found by payment reference. And if you look over here, you can see that the additional information contains the OCR reference that we added. So what we can do is, we can go into show customer statement, and we can see which ledger entries it's concerning. They're listed here. And of course it's waiting in the cash receipt journal, along with all the other lines. Yes. So it's able to match based on the payment reference. Now this customer statement OCR reference match is possible for our Danish customers, but we are working on making this available and fully working for all other countries using OCR references. So this will be available soon, but it is working in Denmark. You can go ahead and use it